All right, I'm gonna try to do this whole live thing. So, status, looks, and money. How do these factors affect how women see you and how someone will act and how they change people in relationships and even before relationships? We see people when it comes to money, status, and looks. So, you will notice the more money and the status and the more you get in the gym, the more attention that you will get from women. So people don't really think about these kind of things when you're in relationships or when you're just growing up or when you're going through life. But when it comes to the sexual market, this is huge, and this will change everything when it comes to how much how much clout you get, how much money, and how much you get in the gym, and how much you change your physical self and your confidence. You see it the most in the extreme with celebrities. So you'll see the same women get in with, entertainers and men that they really shouldn't, and they'll have all these different, children out of wedlock and everything. It's like shitty men cheat. It's like shitty men don't want relationships. It's like these aren't always bad men. I know, hold on, stay with me. And those that don't have the status or the looks or the money, they probably won't do these things. So, if you think about someone that comes across status or money or how they look. Think about like basketball players or rappers or entertainers. You find these people in the tabloids all the time with like cheating on their significant other or just not making the best decisions. And these men that these men will act so judgmental and like self-righteous and be like, "Oh, I'm loyal. I would never do that," or "I would never play a game like that." But the thing is that they couldn't. So it's like, how are you supposed to judge people when you couldn't do that, and you would never know how it feels like to have all this attention from people. So these guys have never, and they will never get these factors that make them more attractive. So it's like, how do you ever how could you ever judge someone when you've never actually had that kind of status? So those that don't get their status up, those that don't get in the gym, those that don't have their money figured out, they they don't know how it is. So when that does happen, sometimes those people do step out of marriages and relationships. But the reason that they do is because they pick people when they didn't have those options, when they didn't have the status, when they didn't have the money. So they only picked what they could at the time. And that right there is what people don't understand. When it comes to men, some men will get in relationships with women because that's all that they can get. It's like the analogy of like a marketplace, like a fresh foods or something, where you could only buy apples. You only had enough money to buy apples, so you couldn't even get anything else. So guys out there will be like buying everything because they can. It's you don't have the option to do it, so you could never do it. So playing the game is something that most men can't do. And so they don't so they opt out of playing the game and just get what they can. But for women, they play the game every day. It's like it is on easy mode for them. So they have to get the end product faster because for men, as they get older, they understand how to wear different clothes, how to style their hair, how when they get in the gym, they become more attractive because they get more confidence, they get more muscle, they look better. They go to their jobs and they get more successful, so they start getting more money. So for them, it's a long game. So those men that make those decisions earlier in life, maybe they only made the decision to get with the woman that they are with is because that's all that they could get at the time. But for women, the more they stretch that out, the less options they have. So it should be the exact opposite, but it's not. Most men will rush into relationships. They rush into relationships early because they just like, oh, whatever I can get at the time. When women, they have the inflated self-worth where they think that they can get all these guys in the world because attention from all the guys and usually for the wrong behaviors. Like I said before, a man that is say a short guy would be like, "Oh, I'm so loyal, I'm so good to you, blah blah blah." But if he got the attention of a dude that's like 6'5", a foot taller than him, then I guarantee you he would change everything about him. Everything about him would change. Having those options for most men will fundamentally change everything about them. And that's not like at that point now. So you're 30 years old and you're a 6'5" Chad. Not that. I'm talking about from the very beginning. It changes your whole life for some things. It's like guys that grew up with money, they don't know how it is without money. And they've always been able to throw it around and they have all this attention from all these women because they can provide so much resources even from high school. So when you think about that, when your life starts, you are automatically judged on what you have and what you can give to the opposite sex. So when you're looking for a person in a relationship, and this could be a one night stand, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or marriage, there are inherent ways that a person will act with these factors. So when you're looking for a person to have a relationship with, look at the factors that make them attractive to the opposite sex. So for some so for some women, it could be like how they portray themselves. Are they dressing sexy? Are they out there being conservative? You have to look at these factors on how it affects the woman throughout their whole life. So for men, a guy that that he has no status and he grew up poor and he's stick thin and short, like that boy right there, when he becomes a man, his life is so different than the stereotypical high school jock. So, you know those people. You went to school with those people that they peaked in high school and they had the best parties and they hooked up with the best girls and they settled down with a like homecoming queen and that was it for them. And they trapped this poor lady for the rest of their life because they don't become better after that because that's when they peaked and everything was good for them and that was easy for them right then. But when they actually joined the real world, they didn't get all these things given to them for free. That's like a woman when she gets older, she starts getting all those perks start going away from her. So she's no longer getting all the attention that she got before. She's no longer attracting the same guys that she had before. But for the guys, as long as you understand that it's a long game for men, and if you understand that, you can start incorporating these factors and start looking at how to get more status, how to look better, and how to get more money. So it's a very, very long game for men. For women, it is not, but you'll have these people that will judge others on how they act with when they they can't empathize and put themselves in that person's shoes when it's like, dude, he's a very successful guy. His job requires him to be around the world all the time in different cities every other week. It's like, and he has constant attention from women. And when you're sitting back there, like, oh, I would never do that. That's crazy. It's like, really, you can't stop and think about how hard that would be for most men. And since even these guys are most guys that have that life are used to it, and those that opt out still do. And I'm not saying this is everybody, but it is harder than what most people think. Just like the dudes that sit on the couch when they're watching sports and be like, "Oh, I can't believe he messed that up." It's like you can't sit and think about how hard that is for somebody in their life, and everyone just takes it for granted. It's like, "Oh, this person, they're so good, and, they have all these things working for them." And for most guys, they had to become the person that they are today, and that takes a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice. And as time goes on, when you make those decisions that are quick and at the beginning of your life, they matter. And when you get in these relationships super early, a lot of men make the mistake that they don't know that in life they're going to become better. And maybe all those options start flooding you later in life. And you're like, oh shit, I settled super early. So when you think about these factors, status, looks, and money, it's something that takes a lot of time for some people. Very few are given it. And once you, people that are given these factors, they lose it pretty early and pretty fast. So on the flip side, for women, the things that attract men are their beauty and their youth and how they interact with the world. Are they a joy to be around? And with time, those things flee from women, and then they have to rely on what men have to rely on, like personality and other like auxiliary effects in life. And that's very telling for some women. And you'll see them. Even the ones that are married in relationships, you can just tell that they're like, wow, I waited way too long and I had to settle for a guy that I no longer respect. Because once you see people in relationships, you will see if you're around them long enough how they interact with the people that they are married to or in relationships with. If a woman is talking down to a man in front of people or just treating him with blatant disrespect or just commenting on other dudes, and constantly going out with their friends and doing, like, girls' weekends and stuff, like, they just don't respect the person that they're with, and if you look deep into it, it's either like the high school jock thing where they were with a man that was good from the very beginning, from the very start, and he got a lot of things given to him, or he got lucky really early, and then 10, 20 years down the line, you see these women and they're just fed up. They're with this dude that's a slob, that he just got lucky or he got things given to him, and they're like, "Oh my god," and then that's usually they'll split in the first year or 2 or 5, especially if they start losing things, but these women will be sad. They will be so sad, and most of them kinda deserve it because they look for the wrong things. They do look for money, for looks, and for status, but men know that guys with these kinda options basically get to do what they want, or they act like they can do what they want. And women like that, so they go for the wrong men. Women go for the wrong men all the time. Like, we were all young, and we were all those guys that just tried to get girls and were out there trying to act the most, even trying to act like they were something that they weren't. And you use these bad boy tendencies that women like. So because and it's like, which one came first, the chicken or the egg, right? So it's like, do men act bad because they get girls, or do they see that girls like men that are bad, so they act bad? So were they good or were they bad? And if you look at most men, as their life goes on, they get families, they find a woman that they love, and they have children, and everything is good. So it's like not a lot of guys are just going out and getting after getting girls their whole life. They want to settle down. And I believe that most men they seriously aren't dogs, and if they are, then the only reason that they have that opportunity is because women like that. Women like men that treat them like shit. It's horrible to say out loud, but it is so true in so many scenarios that these women won't go for men that are nice, that maybe they're not as exciting as the dude that's out there risking his life, that's jumping off of buildings or jumping off cliffs into the ocean and, like, being trying to get the most attention and clout. Maybe it's not the most attractive thing in the world, but they would get treated better by guys that are like this. Like, I know so many women that are older, that are still single, and when you see the men that they're going after, it's like "Oh, look at this guy." I was like, "Oh my." It's like, "Look at this dude." Like, "Really?" Like, you can just it's so easy to see, but that's what they're used to because when they were younger, the men that they were hitting up that they got the most attraction from, that natural desire that they want are bad boys. So, when you are in these situations in life and you see relationships, really look into them. If it's really hard to find, um no, it's not hard to find. When you look at good relationships, they are kind of balanced pretty well, because if a man is that dude and his woman is she too promiscuous, or is, she, like, not attractive? So it's like either the guy got with a girl and then she, like, let herself go. Usually, the relationships that last the longest, there's a nice balance there. And if not, then it's going to get there. It will balance itself out. There are very, very few people that are in relationships that are not balanced between the sexes. And it could be balanced one way or the other because there are some guys and some girls that are so damaged, guys that have been treated like shit from so many women that they are with women that you're like, "Holy shit, how is this happening?" But that is all trauma and damage, and it's the same thing with women. You'll see beautiful women with guys that it's like, "How the hell did this happen?" And you look into the girl's past and you see everything. You look into any relationship or any person and you will see a pattern throughout history about how they are treated from the opposite sex and how they're with that person that they're with. And it's so, so easy to see. But when it comes to the different sexes, there is just an inherent difference between the relationship and all the journeys and battles that you had to go through to get those those relationships that you want. And so many people settle. So many people settle and you'll see it every day. So it just blows my mind. It blows my mind how these guys will be like, "Oh, I can't believe," like, what was my wife talking about the other oh, she was talking about, Khloe Kardashian, how she, got back with, what's his name? Basketball Tristan, and, he's an NBA basketball player. He's like 6'10", makes millions and millions of dollars, and they were together, they had a kid, he cheated on her, and then she got back with him again, and he cheated on her again. It's like, "No shit, like, you're fucking it's so stupid." It's like, "You deserve it. You deserve that." The same as with when guys, when they're with, like, strippers or OnlyFans girls or porn stars, it's like, "Oh, they cheated on you, or they don't want you, or they left you for everything." It's like, "No shit." It is written on their foreheads. For most people, how they're gonna treat you is written on their foreheads. I would say it's much easier for men to change. Like, guys can go out and be crazy for a while, and at some point, they wanna settle down and change. And just know that maybe it takes a while. It takes a while. It's like, are you here for the long haul? And most women aren't, it's on to the next one, and why not? When you have so much attention waiting in your DMs, when you have guys hitting you up all the time, you think you have this influx of options, and you don't. That runs out at a certain amount of time, and if it runs out at the wrong time, then you will get settled with the wrong person that you don't wanna be with, and you will be disgruntled and sad for most of your life. So, it's very simple. Look at the person that you wanna have a relationship with, and look at the factors that make them attractive, male or female, and look at the history, and add it all together and make a good guess from probabilities if it's going to work out for you or not. That is the easiest way to go about it. Very simple.